Hi everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia for round 2 of the Ferrari Challenge for 2019. The cars of the Trofeo Pirelli class are about to make their way onto the track for the first of their races this weekend, and as you can see, many people here to enjoy the race action to come from this fantastic one-make series of Ferrari 488 cars that will be on track shortly for their 30-minute race. Here is the calendar for the series for this year. Already we've been to Sakir in Bahrain. We're here in Valencia with Spielberg in Austria, Le Mans in France, Nürburgring in Germany, Imola and Mugello in Italy to round out what will be a packed calendar for this year. And a very exciting calendar with lots of great tracks to go to, and of course in support of the Le Mans 24-hour race as well. So here, this Circuit Ricardo Tormo, 4.005 kilometers, 14 turns, 9 of them left, 5 of them are right-handers. And the all-new livery on the Hublot safety car down there as the cars are beginning to line up behind it. And there you can see the sectors of the circuit. And it's quite a technical, challenging circuit, particularly through Sector 2. Weather conditions reasonable for today. As you can see, the air temperature is 15 degrees. There's some cloud around, but it is dry, which is not necessarily the forecast for tomorrow. More on that in a while. So the new livery on the Hublot safety car then that will appear in all the Ferrari Challenge series, whether it's here in Europe, across North America and Asia Pacific as well. A stunning livery it is across the safety car for this year. So the grid then on row 1, P1, Sam Smith. Then alongside is Bjorn Grossman. It's going to be very interesting going into turn number 1, I can tell you. Then it's Alessandro Bonaccini, Jan Danis, Alessandro Vezzoni. And there you can see the rest of the grid. Now, Louis Pret, as you can see, is starting from P9. And he was the quickest during qualifying. But because of the success penalty that is applied in the Ferrari Challenge, basically he takes a grid drop because of his great performance in Bahrain, where he took a P3 and a P1. And Fabian Volvend right at the end of the grid because she had a gearbox problem this morning and didn't make qualifying. So we're in Valencia then. Let's give you a little taste of the area. A magnificent location and a super circuit as well. You don't get the benefit of knowing that from this particular camera angle that you go very, very downhill in towards turn number 1. And to tell us more about the track, let's hear from Emanuele Tabacchi now.
Hello, I'm Emanuele Maria Tabacchi. I'm from Italy and I race in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli with the Rosso Corsa team. I started in the AM series this year after many years driving in track days, then in the FXX program. I started to do the Club Challenge, that it was a new thing created from Ferrari for people who wanted to go on track without racing. And after 1 year doing Club Challenge, I started to race. I was so happy because I won the first 2 races in Bahrain. The first one I was in pole position and I stayed first for the whole race. And in the second race instead I started last and in 6 laps I was already first. So I'm really happy. Now I'm ready for the Valencia round and I really like this series because it's really friendly, it's really polite on track and also outside on the box. And going around Europe in this magnificent racetracks, You can also go and have a look to the cities, and it's really cultural, and you can go with your wife and stay for a fantastic weekend around Europe. It's time to go back to the track. Enjoy the Ferrari Challenge here in Valencia.
Thank you, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi then, who did have a great time of it in Bahrain. And as we look now at the Björn Grossman car, the Octane 126 driver, Björn Grossman then, who is going from P2 on the grid. Sam Smith is pole position, P1, but Björn Grossman going from P2 on the grid. And that's why I say, with Sam Smith and him together, going into turn number 1, going to be very interesting indeed. We're looking from the John Dillon car. John is one of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers from Greypool, Nottingham, and the onboard shot of his 488 Challenge car. Looking forward to the cars ahead of him on the grid. So John Dillon, the car that we were on board with there. We're looking back at the Alessandro Vezzoni car at the moment. Alessandro Vezzoni in car number 27, another one of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. In fact, was the second quickest of those AM drivers, just being shaded by Jan Danis, who was the quickest of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers.
El director del circuito, la placa, para los familiares directos, Juan.
So a minute silence being observed here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. So our race director on the starter's podium then, ahead of the start of this race. And apologies that I haven't been informed why we had that minute silence, so forgive me, certainly wasn't being disrespectful. As the jingle indicates, we're about to get race 1 underway here in Valencia at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo for the Ferrari Challenge. Then 30 minutes of race action to come. There's a mix of Trofeo Pirelli Pro drivers and a mix of AM drivers as well. The Pirelli Pro drivers, as we look at Aki Smolka, who is one of the Copa Shell drivers, drives for the Rosso Corsa team, making her way off the track along with lots of other people. As you can see, the grid is a very packed place. There is the Shire livery aboard the Sam Smith car. Sam Smith then for Baron Motorsport, pole position. And Sam Smith, a very, very quick driver indeed, but he has got an equally quick driver right alongside him in the likes of Björn Grossman. So it's going to be, as I said, very, very interesting going into turn number 1. Just to the right of your picture there, Ronnie Cassel, the team boss of Cassel Racing, making his way off the circuit. Now, the best of the pro drivers, Sam Smith and Björn Grossman, best of the AMs, Jan Dennis and Alessandro Vezzoni. Must just explain once again that the man that was actually quickest during qualifying was Louis Pret. But Louis Pret, by dint of his success in Bahrain, takes a grid drop for this race. And that means that he starts further down the grid than he would like. But the success penalties that are in the Ferrari Challenge designed to make the racing very interesting indeed, and so far works well. So the safety car has been released now, the Hublot safety car with that new livery for 2019, and the cars will be released shortly as well. Rolling lap for the Ferrari Challenge as the cars are indeed released now. So, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, the quickest out on track during qualifying was Louis Pret, and he's the man that effectively set the fastest lap.
Hello from Valencia. Very happy with the pole position today. It was very, very tricky and very close at the end. Now the race, we start P7, I think, because of the penalty from Bahrain. Let's see how it goes and have a good race.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Louis. You're starting further back than that, to be honest. But it's all as a result of not only the penalty he picks up for his success in Bahrain, but of course also he's got some AM drivers ahead of him too. There's Christian Overgaard in the number 45 car. All the social media at the top of the screen for you as well. The new livery on the Martin Nelson car goes through, and what a fine sight it is of all these 488 cars making their way on this formation lap around this 4.005 kilometre circuit. 14 turns, 9 of them left, 5 of them right-handers. Sector 1 contains but 2 turns. Sector 2 is very technical through turns 3 through until turn 11. And then the final sector with the very challenging turn 13, where it's a sweeping left-hander into the hard braking of turn number 14. So Alessandro Vezzoni there. And there is the number 3 car of Nicolo Schiro, who also had a very good time of it in Bahrain, taking a P1 and a P2 in class. So the 2 classes then are Trofeo Pirelli Pro. They are distinguished by the red sunstrip. The white sunstrip are for the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. And that's how you can tell the difference between the 2 of them. They're on track as the safety car leads them around the final sequence of turns that sweep around turn number 13 into turn number 14. We are about to go racing. Stand by. Safety car is in. Sam Smith puts his foot through the floor and immediately gets the advantage over Björn Grossman. If Björn was going to try and track him into turn number 1, it certainly wasn't going to happen. Sam Smith P1, Björn Grossman P2. As the rest of the cars behind Alessandro Vezzoni, another one that's trying to make up ground in the early stages of this race as they come through now. It all gets very busy into turn number 2. And 1 car on the grass already. There's going to be contact there as 2 cars go around. And one of those cars was the number 9 car of Oliver Plasman. Certainly that was the one that I think got pirouetted around. So Smith leading from Grossman, then it's Alessandro Bonaccini, Alessandro Vezzoni. As I said, he was one that made up good ground right at the beginning of the race. Then it's Max Meyer. So 1 or 2 cars then maybe suffering some damage as a result of that skirmish going through turn number 2. Sam Smith, though, showing a clean pair of heels to Björn Grossman at the moment. And Alessandro Vezzoni then, a man on a mission. He's in the red number 27 car, which is P4 in the race overall, but P1 in terms of the AM classification. Fabian Volvend has already got past 2 cars as she makes her moves up from the very, very back of the grid by dint of the fact she didn't put in a qualifying lap because of a gearbox problem. So it's Smith, then it's Grossman, then it is Bonaccini then, and expect those 3 perhaps just to break away a little bit. So here comes Smith then, hard braking into the final turn. And there you can see up on the inside of the number 10 car of Maximilian Meyer was Thomas Neubauer. So we put one lap in the book then. The first lap is completed with Smith leading with 5/10 over Björn Grossman in P2. Then it's Alessandro Bonaccini, as I say, who those three are now just beginning to break away a little bit from Alessandro Vezzoni, who may prove to be just a little bit of a cork in the bottle. So an overtake going into turn number 2. That's always very difficult, but it was well done by Nicolo Schiro, who is another one who needs to get up the road and try and keep on terms with the leading pack of cars. And now Nicolo Schiro has moved up a further place. Smith and Grossman again, both beginning to break away a little bit now from Bonaccini. So Grossman is showing on our timing screen of having dropped back, but that must be a transponder problem because Grossman is definitely still out there. There is Sam Smith, there is Björn Grossman, and there is Alessandro Bonaccini. So being chased hard now, or chasing hard, is Thomas Neubauer. You can see how they really kick up the dust from that turn number 10. Smith extending his lead by another couple of tenths. It's now 8 tenths ahead of Björn Grossman. So Smith, Grossman, then is Bonaccini, Vezzoni, Meyer, and Thomas Neubauer ahead of Nicolo Schiro, Jan Danis, and Thomas O'Rourke, with Louis Pret rounding out the top 10, not making the progress that he would like to make. Louis Pret then getting mugged just a little bit right at the start of the race. So lap 2 goes in the book, then completed. Sam Smith not putting a foot wrong. Björn Grossman has clawed just a little bit back as the gap now is down to 7 tenths between P1 and P2. Here comes Louis Pret then, taking a look at the inside of the number 97 car of Thomas O'Rourke. And here in replay then was everything that went on through turn number 2 right at the very start. And the big loser there was, I think it was the, now we can see it in full, that Oliver Plasman very much losing out there from the contact from Fabian Volvend. So some more contact now. Martin Nelson ahead of that 2 cars behind, and that in replay you can see it's Jack Brown, Christian Overgaard, Marianne Safliarski all involved in that, and here we can see this ding-dong battle that is going on between Thomas Neubauer and Nicolo Schiro. Nicolo Schiro being hung out to dry a little bit around the outside there. They are side by side. Thomas Neubauer at the moment has got the better of that, and what that did, that left Nicolo Schiro vulnerable to the car of Jan Danis. So Jan Danis has gone through. Nicolo Schiro, you can tell he's really, really annoyed about that, and has lost a place out there. Basically, he was trying to find his way past the Thomas Neubauer car and got hung out to dry around the outside. And now joining into that battle, this is going to become very interesting because you've got Louis Pret now on the back of them. And Louis, we know how quick he is by dint of the fact he set the fastest lap in qualifying. So the incident involving cars number 9 and 5 is going to be investigated after the race. And Oliver Plasman is in the pit lane. So what can Louis Pret do to shake up these ahead of him? Martin Nelson is going to be under attack from the number 90 car of Jack Brown. Oh, and then Nicolo Schiro takes a look at the inside of Jan Danis. You can actually hear the contact, and the big beneficiary could be Louis Pret. So Louis Pret has got the, he was going to have the inside line for that turn. Now he dives to try and get alongside Nicolo Schiro, but Nicolo Schiro firmly shut the door. So Jan Danis, the big loser there. Here you can see trying to make haste Thomas Neubauer, who's got past Alessandro Vezzoni. In the meantime, Smith and Grossman are escaping up the road. They've got 3 seconds now over Alessandro Bonaccini, who is in P3. So this was Nicolo Schiro then on Jan Danis. That smacks of being a really rather aggressive move, to be honest. And Louis Pret nearly able to take advantage of it, but not quite. We'll see if the race director picks up on that move. So Sam Smith then sets the fastest lap, a 1:35.712. He's on fire here. But keeping with him is Bjorn Grossman, still within 7/10. Here comes Louis Pret then, who's taking a look at the Alessandro Vezzoni car. Takes a very wide line into turn number 1. Alessandro Vezzoni leading the AMS, but here comes Louis Pret now. Gets right alongside the Vezzoni car up the inside of turn number 2, and he's done it. Great overtake from Louis Pret there. He made that one count, and he set that up through turn number 1. So Pret then through on Vezzoni. There's contact between Jack Brown and Martin Nelson, and Jack Brown goes through on Martin Nelson, so he moves up another position, and there's fighting going on here now because Thomas Neubauer is trying to get past Maximilian Meyer. Maximilian Meyer is having none of it, and he takes to off the track. So they are side by side. They are panel rubbing together here. But Neubauer has got the inside line, and that is going to be to his advantage. And sure enough, he does go through on Maximilian Meyer. Of course, while they're fighting, that's slowing enough to now allow Nicolo Schiro to get on the back of that pack as well, and potentially Louis Pret as well, as they make their way through turn number 11 and head up towards turn number 12. The right-hander that is turn number 12, and then you sweep left before the heavy braking section at turn number 14, and that's where we're at right now. Car number 10 exceeding the track limits. We're being advised of that. Maximilian Meyer. What he's doing is trying to defend for all he's worth, of course. So, here comes Nicolo Schiro. So the battle for P4 between Thomas Neubauer, Max Meyer and Nicolo Schiro. And Tom Neubauer, as you can see, is up the road now and all over the back of the Maximilian Meyer car, as Jack Brown moves past the Tommaso Rocca machine as well. Louis Pret is just trying to buy into this. He's been exceeding the track limits as well. It was noticed at turn number 1. Now you get several, you can get away with it once or twice, but if it's a repeat offence, then you could get penalised for that. So we'll keep our eyes on track limits as Louis Pret then on the inside of Max Meyer. So this should mean that Louis Pret will go through. No, he won't. Meyer closes the door. Nicolo Schiro has gone through, so Louis Pret diving to the inside now, trying to unsettle the number 10 car ahead of him. This is the battle for P4 in Trofeo Pirelli Pro. And Louis Pret now dives to the inside. That gives him the inside for the next turn as well. He makes the back end of the car as wide as possible to deny the opportunity for Maximilian Meyer to be able to defend that. And Louis Pret goes through. So been some great driving right at in that little battle that's been going on for sort of P4, 5 and 6. Here are the leaders though, Sam Smith and Bjorn Grossman. The gap between them is negligible, but Sam Smith is doing everything exactly right at the moment, and there's damage there for the number 26 car of Frank Rumi. Frank Rumi with, well, that wheel is locked up at the front, which means he's been in contact with something, or perhaps some component has broken on the Frank Rumi car, but you can see it, some suspension issue as well, because the car is really low at the front. Well, it may have happened with Fabian Volvend. Or, yeah, basically, Fabian just got the exit of the turn. The back end became a bit loose. She jumped the curbs. Frank Rumi really had nowhere to go, to be fair. But that has really compromised his race. And we're seeing Maximilian Meyer drop down the order as well. I don't know whether there's been a problem for Maximilian Meyer. I was just looking at the timing screen, and you can see his jump down to P15. There he is, our race leader, Sam Smith. There is Bjorn Grossman. So maybe we'll get a repeat of whatever it was that caused the problems for Maximilian Meyer, because he was right in the mix of that, but actually it was a problem with the transponder, because he's exactly where we expected him to be. In fairness, he is running in P7. So race leader P1, P2, as you can see, Alessandro Bonaccini has got absolutely nothing to throw at them. in the meantime, Niccolo Schiro is very soon going to have Louis Pret for company. And it's going to be the battle for P6. There's Alessandro Vezzoni with a big queue of cars lined up behind him with Jean Danis and Jack Brown and Thomas O'Rourke. Jack Brown, I have to say, is potentially the liveliest of this little pack. And he'll be trying to find, you can see him just looking at the inside of Jean Danis there. Thomas O'Rourke, Martin Nelson just behind as well. So as we pick those cars up now as they come into that turn, Alessandro Vezzoni clean and tidy, Jean Danis, Jack Brown just once again taking a look at the inside. So Trofeo Pirelli am being led by Alessandro Vezzoni, but Jean Danis and Jack Brown are in P2 and P3, and of course they want to be leading the class. So the battles for positions 1 to 8 in the AMS, it's an 8-strong battle there, that's for sure. There's Jack Brown then in the number 90 car. Jack, who made various appearances in the challenge last year, as now you can see Jean Danis and Alessandro Vezzoni go side by side. Vezzoni's able to carry the speed, but here comes Jean Danis taking a look at the inside. He has to yield. Now all of this may play into the hands of Jack Brown whilst he's having to defend from the car that's directly behind him. He is focusing and concentrating on trying to go forward, and there's problems for the number 80 car of Ali Kamyab. I was talking to Ali earlier on in the morning. P1 and P2 again. All of a sudden, Björn Grossman appears to be turning the wick up a little bit. He's taken a couple of tenths out of Sam Smith. Right, Vezzoni versus Danis versus Jack Brown, and then behind them, Jean Danis does go through, carries too much speed. Is Vezzoni going to be able to come back here? Jack Brown is rubbing his hands with invisible soap, saying, please let me get into this. So Jack Brown does go through. Martin Nelson trying to go around the outside here against Thomas O'Rourke. So Alessandro Vezzoni stays ahead. Jean Danis loses a place because Jack Brown has got ahead of him. So this battle for P1 in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class at the moment is really hotting up between Vezzoni, Brown and Danis. And trying to buy into it as well is the car of Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, who of course was so successful in Bahrain. Now, Maximilian Mayer is going to get a 5-second time penalty for track limits. I did say that you'll get a few warnings, but if you continually repeat offending with regards to track limits, then you're going to get hammered by the race steward. So here's Vezzoni. He's got Jack Brown, Jean Danis right behind. You can see Brown is looking very lively behind him. Jean Danis, who really has been roller coasted about a bit. Jack Brown takes a very wide line through the final turn on the hope of being able to get the run on Alessandro Vezzoni going into turn number 1. Vezzoni immediately dives to what will become the inside of turn number 1 to try and prevent Jack Brown from coming to the inside. Oh, and look at this. It's down to just 3 tenths between Sam Smith and Björn Grossman. So this is the battle for P1 in the Trofeo Pirelli Pro. Now Sam, to be fair, has not put a foot wrong, nor has Björn Grossman. They've been out in their own race. And Sam has shown Björn a clean pair of heels throughout the race at the moment, and we're about half distance with 14.5 minutes remaining. But Sam, all of a sudden now, is really having to defend from the hard-charging German behind him, Björn Grossman. So the 2 cars then. There is the Björn Grossman Octane 126 car. And through the final turn, turn number 14. And this time around, Sam Smith has increased the margin between himself and Björn Grossman just a little bit. It's gone up another 3 tenths. So Smith, Grossman, you can see how it's seesawed over the last few laps, but Björn definitely became more aggressive over the last couple of laps in terms of trying to unsettle Sam Smith ahead of him. So if it stays this way, Sam took a P2 and a P4 in Bahrain. This will be his first win in the challenge for 2019. If it stays this way, another 13 minutes of the race still to do, and if Björn can do anything about it, he's going to try, that's for sure. In the meantime, let's go back to this AM battle with Alessandro Vezzoni still leading it from Jack Brown, and then it's Jean Dennis and Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, then, who is P4 at the moment, but dives to the inside of Jean Dennis. That's not going to work. Tommaso Roca getting very wayward behind them. But Alessandro Vezzoni doing a good job, and I mean, he's really been under attack and continues to try and defend from Jack Brown. Brown's on the outside here. You've got to give Jack Brown enormous credit for trying to go around the outside, and it's just not happening. You can perhaps sense that Jack is beginning to get a bit frustrated. He's in this P3 AM position at the moment, and perhaps feels that he has the pace to be doing better than those cars ahead of him, but of course he's got to find a way past them to enable him to show us that pace. So Vezzoni then through turn number 14. Now Dennis may have an opportunity, because Dennis has got to the inside of Alessandro Vezzoni. He set that up perfectly coming out of turn number 14. So this means it's going to be the inside line for Jean Dennis. He's surely going to be able to go past on Alessandro Vezzoni. Jack Brown will try and dive to the inside as well. Sure enough, Jean Dennis does go through. Here comes Jack Brown then, as they look towards the turn number 2. Brown is on the inside. Vezzoni's hung out to dry, and he's going to lose out to Emanuele Maria Tabacchi as well. So in the space of but a few hundred meters, Alessandro Vezzoni losing out on 3 places. He has Tommaso Roca and Martin Nelson now right behind him, as well as Christian Overgaard too in the number 46 car. And Christian Overgaard just looking at the back end of Martin Nelson there and trying to unsettle him. In the meantime, in Trofeo Pirelli Pro, Sam is continuing to defend from Björn Grossman. Car number 5 is going to take a time penalty for track limits, and that car number 5 is, of course, Fabian Volvent. And the incident involving cars number 26 and number 5 is under investigation. We saw that just a while ago, and of course that resulted in the end of the race for Frank Rumi, regrettably. So here comes Smith then, continuing to push. Sam Smith being managed, of course, by the Baron Motorsport organisation. Björn Grossman for Octane 126. And between them, there is just tenths, 5 of them to be exact, when they cross the timing line. Now this is Jack Brown, and diving to the inside of Jack Brown, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, and I have to say that was a brilliant move. I thought he was going to go off limits, but he didn't. That was a great overtake. In Trofeo Pirelli Pro then, Smith, Grossman, Bonaccini, then it's Neubauer, Shiro and Louis Pret, ahead of Maximilian Mayer and Fabian Volvent. So Smith accelerates away, Björn Grossman tries to do the same. They both kick up a little bit of dust as they kiss the apex of the turn. And we're into the final 10 minutes of this race. What can Björn do? Well, in truth, they've both been driving at such a pace that seems they're very evenly matched. It will potentially come down to who has got the best or the most grip left. So another couple of cars are being given time penalties for track limits. Louis Pret is one of them. Another one is the number 61 car of John Dillon. So big penalty there for Louis Pret, who's currently running in P6. More cars being given time penalties include Jack Brown and Ali So it will prove critical for Jack Brown and also for Louis Pret. So there is Jack Brown, and there you can see confirmation of those time penalties being put on screen right now. Louis Pret being one of those that he's going to suffer. And Björn Grossman is going to get a 5-second time penalty, and he's running in P2. Alessandro Vezzoni has gone around. Probably provoked into that. Rosso Corsa Pellin racer Alessandro Vezzoni, of course, who was right in that mix of leading the AMS and has gone from leading the AMS to being very last. So with a 5-second time penalty to be given to Björn Grossman, that's going to knock him down to... He's just going to get away with P3, isn't he? Yeah. Well, let's see when we get to the end of the race. I think Vezzoni went round on his own, you know. I don't think anybody else was involved in that. Just seeing that in replay. So, for the moment, Sam Smith has got nothing to worry about because the car that's immediately chasing him, as you can see on screen right now, is going to be awarded a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits. And already the gap has effectively increased anyway. Now, this adds a little bit of, on my timing screen, I'm getting a message that Alessandro Vezzoni was potentially pushed into that spin by Tommaso Rocca. We didn't quite see that, or I didn't see that. I didn't pick up on the replay quite quick enough, so maybe Tommaso Rocca was involved in that. So apologies, Alessandro. Perhaps you weren't all on your own. So now that Grossman knows he's got that penalty, Smith is up the road. Now, what can Alessandro Bonaccini is some 5 seconds behind. Going to be very interesting over the closing stages of this race to see how that develops. Now, Emanuele Tabacchi and Jack Brown, of course, are in a battle here, but Jack Brown is the one that is going to suffer a penalty. Emanuele Tabacchi is not. Is, well, you can just see the car disappearing now. So Emanuele Maria Tabacchi then chasing after the car of Jean Dennis, that you can just see exiting that turn now. Another car being awarded a time penalty is car number 87, and the 87 car is that of Marianne Sofliarski. And Christian Overgaard picks up a time penalty as well in car number 45. So with the times that we've got on the timing screen at the moment, we have Sam Smith, who's 2.3 seconds ahead, as that was the number 6 car of Thomas Neubauer on Alessandro Bonaccini. Now, potentially there was an opportunity for Bonaccini to take advantage of the fact that Grossman had got this 5-second time penalty, but I don't think he's got the pace to be able to do so. Because all of a sudden, Bonaccini is going to be right in the mix with Nicolo Schiro and Louis Pret right behind. Under 5 minutes remaining. Wow, it's been a turbulent race, that's for sure, with lots going on. So all over the back of Bonaccini now is Nicolo Schiro, then in the number 3 car. And Louis Pret, who's just not challenging too much at the moment because he'll be aware of the fact that he's picked up a time penalty. It's all for this track limits issues at various turns, it has to be said. Initially it was turn number 1 and turn 6, but then turn 11 and turn 14 got involved as well. And that's where drivers begin to risk a penalty by going outside the white line. Now, the earlier incident involving cars number 5 and number 26, you may recall, it was a race-ending incident for Frank Rumi, and Fabian Volven made contact with Frank Rumi. There's going to be no further action after the race control have investigated that during the race. So this battle for P4 then between Alessandro Bonoccini, Nicolo Schiro and Louis Pret is playing out on screen right now. So there is Louis Pret in the number 17 car, been somewhat compromised by that time penalty that he's been picked up, and of course the penalty from his success right at the start of the race. The penalty for his success at Bahrain meant that he was dropped down the grid order, even though he was the quickest during qualifying. So Schiro all over the back of the number 11 car of Alessandro Bonoccini and into the inside. So Schiro goes through, and now Schiro has been released from that Bonoccini car as Louis Pret now takes a look on the inside, but Bonoccini taking advantage of the fact that Schiro made a mistake in that turn and was almost able to come back at him, but not quite. So for the moment, Nicolo Schiro stays ahead. Here we can see it from on board then, this replay. So Bonoccini just leaving enough of a gap and then trying to close it. Basically, it was an error, carrying too much speed into that final turn. And to be fair, Nicolo Schiro did not need invitation twice. Neubauer getting up the road means he is in virtual second place now, and Schiro may have a chance for a podium as well when you consider all the time penalties. Here comes Louis Pret though on Bonoccini, and Louis Pret on the inside. Surely no, he hasn't quite got enough momentum. And you can see the car a bit sideways as has really punished those tyres during the race so far. Now, of course, a number of drivers during qualifying chose to use 2 sets of tyres because there is rain forecast for tomorrow. So rather than sort of preserving a set for tomorrow's race, some have gambled on the wet weather coming and therefore using the tyre availability that is for them. So Louis Pret with Bonoccini ahead of him. Sam Smith 2.5 seconds up the road from Björn Grossman. Thomas Neubauer in P3. That will change, of course, when the penalties are applied after the race, and we're into just having a minute left of the race. Can Louis Pret finally find a way through on Alessandro Bonoccini? So as Sam Smith crosses the timing line now, that means that it is the start of the final lap. There is Björn Grossman, Thomas Neubauer. Nicolo Schiro then has got this lap and no more. He has closed the gap. There's Louis Pret. Car number 33 picks up a penalty as well. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, who of course is P2 at the moment. Jack Brown, of course, has got a penalty as well. I'm looking at the Trofeo Pirelli AM class at the moment. The only one that's unaffected by penalties in the first 3 in the AM class is Shan Danis, who has had a topsy-turvy time of it, as he's been pummeled from every which way but loose. But we can take nothing away from this man. It's been a very, very secure drive from Sam Smith, who has not put a foot wrong. He has not exceeded the track limit. He has just had all the pace that he has needed and has driven a very, very strong race. Schiro effectively is ahead of Grossman now. Let's see. I don't believe it. Just as I'm saying that Sam has had a faultless race, he picks up a 5-second time penalty for track limits. So Sam Smith then is going to cross the timing line and he will take the checkered flag. But he will stay first by dint of Björn Grossman has got a time penalty as well. So Sam Smith then does cross the timing line in first place, and we think Philip Barron, you can see there, he's kept it by 0.4 of a second. Wow, Wow, what a Trofeo Pirelli race that was. So, right, in the AM classification, it's got to be Jean Danis that's going to take the win from Emanuele Tabacchi and Jack Brown. Then it's Martin Nelson, Christian Overgaard. There are fewer drivers. There are very few drivers that didn't get penalties in that race for track limits. I think there might be a little angst between Martin Nelson and Christian Overgaard potentially there, but there is Sam Smith, who's done enough by 4/10 in the end, which actually doesn't really tell the story, because he'd done a sterling job out there. Now, Thomas O'Rourke is going to get a 25-second penalty for causing a collision. Now, that was with Jean Danis. No, sorry. That was with Alessandro Vezzoni, we think. We only saw the back end of the replay. Sort that little lot out. Well done, Sam. His first win in the Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli Pro Class 4 this year. So, our timing screen now has updated everything with regards to the penalties that have been applied. So it's Sam Smith from Thomas Neubauer and Nicolo Schiro will be P1, 2 and 3 in Trofeo Pirelli Pro. Then it will be Jean Danis, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and Jack Brown are the podium places in Trofeo Pirelli AM. What a race. What a race. Enjoyed that, no end, plenty of action. Well done to Sam Smith. Here's Martin Nelson. And Philip Barron, I suspect it is, that's bouncing up and down the number 1. Which indeed it was. Well done, Sam Smith. Well done, Thomas Neubauer taking P2. And well done to Nicolo Schiro taking P3. Björn Grossman then relegated effectively to P4, and Alessandro Bonaccini P5. So top 3 in both classes then, Sam Smith, Thomas Neubauer and Nicolo Schiro. In the Trofeo Pirelli AM, it was Jean Danis, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and Jack Brown. So, I don't envy our editors that have had to work hard in the OB truck to put together a highlights package of that race, but here it comes. So the cars assembled on the grid then, including that number 92 car of Sam Smith. As the cars were released from the safety car then from their rolling lap, Sam Smith made no mistakes in terms of giving it an absolute footfall going into turn number 1. Björn Grossman would chase. Maximilian trying to go around the outside in the number 10 car, Maximilian Mayer. One of the early casualties was the number 9 car that went around. Oliver Plasman, unfortunately, would be out of the race. There was lots of drivers in the mix, all over the place, including Christian Overgaard and the number 90 car of Jack Brown and Nicolo Schiro and Jean Danis having a real battle there. And also involved in various battles, Fabian Volvend, and unfortunately, Frank Rumi would end up being out of the race as a result of that contact. Alessandro Vezzoni then. Eventually, everyone was able to get past him. Nicolo Schiro and Alessandro Bonaccini having an overtake here. And Jack Brown involved in the mix of it as well, all the way through the race. mistake there from Alessandro Bonaccini, just allowed the door to be open, but Sam Smith, despite taking the time penalty, would take the win for Trofeo Pirelli Pro, and Jan Dennis would take the win for the Trofeo Pirelli AMS. And Philip Barron knows how close it was right at the end for his driver Sam Smith. So the drivers will be heading up to the podium momentarily, and we'll bring you the podium ceremony in full. Well, the crowd here have enjoyed a fantastic race. So the photographs being taken down there in the pit lane, but we are going to head up to the podium for the podium ceremonies. So the silverware awaits the lucky recipients. And their confirmation of the classification then. Smith taking the win, 4/10 ahead of Thomas Neubauer. Then it was Nicola Schiro, Björn Grossman, Alessandro Bonaccini, Louis Pret, Maximilian Meyer, and Fabian Volvend. So taking a look at our Inside Challenge show, and there the drivers getting prepared for their podium appearances. Sam Smith, Thomas Neubauer and Nicola Schiro there. And the cars underneath the podium, as you can see. So no reason for the podium to be delayed or elongated. We're expecting that any moment. And of course, more race action to come from the Trofeo Pirelli cars tomorrow. Please make sure you join us for that. If it is anything like as entertaining as the first race, and bear in mind the weather could be a factor as well, because there is discussion, there is talk of rain. In the Drivers' Championship, then, Nicola Schiro on 50 points, just 1 point ahead now of Sam Smith, who is P2, and Louis Pret is P3. So Nicola Schiro on the podium, Thomas Neubauer on the podium, and here comes our race winner, Sam Smith, his first win of 2019, and team boss Philip Barron up there on the podium as well, as the baseball caps are removed, and what a fine anthem to play out. So here come the trophy presentations then. Nicolo Schiro then receives his trophy for P3. Roberto Gonzalez Caccioro making the trophy presentation now to Thomas Neubauer. And then the race winner, Sam Smith here in Valencia. He takes the win in race number 1 for Trofeo Pirelli. Barron Motorsport, of course, will receive a trophy as well to add to their burgeoning mantelpiece. Team boss Philippe Barron himself, no stranger to the top step of the podium, that's for sure. And of course the Pirelli trophy as well being awarded to Sam Smith by Gianfranco Vaccari from Pirelli Motorsport. And time for the photos before the bubbly is burst.
Nicolo, Thomas, Sam y Philippe, el equipo vencedor de esta primera carrera del Trofeo Pirelli en la Ferrari Challenge. Y ya rápidamente, después de las instantáneas, la celebración con el champán de Pep Clico.
So,
ahí están.
The celebrations there on the podium for Trofeo Pirelli Pro. Bear in mind, we've still got the AM podium to come. And super slow-mos of the top 3. First of all, Nicolo Schiro, then it'll be Thomas Neubauer, and then Sam Smith, the cars that you will see in order.
Y a continuación de este podio del Trofeo Pirelli en la primera carrera, preparamos ya la entrega de trofeos para esta Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli Amateur, en la carrera número 1. Una categoría Pirelli Amateur muy disputada, ha habido 8 pilotos ahí.
So there, the race-winning car of Sam Smith then, and the driver of said car enjoying his time on the top step of the podium. Confirmation then of the AM classification. Jan Danis, Emanuela Maria Tabacchi and Jack Brown taking the 1, 2, 3. Ahead of Martin Nelson, Christian Overgaard, Sufliarski, Roca, Vezzoni, Esperson and Dillon. And the podium already underway, as you can see. So trophies about to be presented. And of course, Scuderia Praha represented on the podium as well. So the anthem plays out, and now it's time for the silverware to be awarded. Jack Brown receives his trophy from Gonzalo Gerber, the director here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Emanuela Maria Tabacchi receives his. And then on the top step of the podium, Jan Danis.
Don Gonzalo Gober, director de circuito, entregará el trofeo al equipo vencedor Scuderia Praga, representado por Eva Horn.
And Scuderia Prague received their trophy. And of course the Pirelli trophy is presented as well. So Gianfranco Vaccari making that trophy presentation. So as the champagne is about to be sprayed, but photographs first of all, gentlemen, please, if you will. And make sure you join us for race number 2 tomorrow, which, if it's anything like as exciting as race number 1 has been, but there is still more race action to come today, of course, because the Copa Shell cars will be out on track in but a while. But from all of us now, for the moment, from Trofeo Pirelli, bye-bye for now.